Jamie Pritzker, who's been a supporter of President Biden as the Democrat nominee, just caught on a hot mic, taking a different tone.
I mean, we're just going to keep fighting. I don't know what to say. You know, I gotta do what we have to do. I don't like where we are.
This all comes as Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer is open to Joe Biden taking a cognitive test.
As some people have suggested, just go ahead and take a cognitive test and demand that Donald Trump do the same?
I don't think that'd hurt, to be honest. But at the end of the day, you know,
so you think that he should take a cognitive test?
I don't think it would hurt.
Chris Sununu is the governor of the great state of New Hampshire and joins us now. Governor, good morning to you. It was about a year ago that you said that President Biden would not be the Democrat nominee. What is your assessment now?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, I think there's a 60% chance he's still on there. But obviously, the Obama powers that be, the folks that pull a lot of the strings within the Democrat Party, are trying to make sure that that's not the case. Look, whether he's on the ticket or not, I got one simple and very clear message for the Republican Party. This ain't over. This is the ebb. This is probably the worst you're going to see the Biden campaign. Some of the strongest poll numbers for Trump, and that's great. That is terrific. But you got to finish the marathon. So that means all the other candidates on the ballot have to work hard. We still have to go out. We have to knock on those doors and do those phone calls and keep consistent with the message. I think even if Biden stays on the ticket, if he has a strong convention, right, that if he has a strong presence there, if he can read the teleprompter at the convention decently, they'll try to point to that as, well, the debate was just a fluke. Let's not all panic. So obviously we're going to support Trump. We're going to support all the Republicans. I just don't want anyone, sitting back and saying we got this thing wrapped up. There's a long way to go in this campaign.
Yeah, without a doubt, this is not a time, if you're a Republican, to be spiking the football. But the absolute disarray in the Democratic Party cannot be ignored. 10 Democrats now calling on Biden to withdraw. Peter Welch being the first senator, your neighbor there in Vermont, to publicly call Biden to step down. They all sound defeatist in one way or another. Even if they are endorsing the president, it's not very full-throated. As a student of history, can you recall a time when the Democrat Party, quite frankly, sounded this hopeless?
Well, no. I mean, look, I tell you what, let's go back to the late 90s, right? When Clinton was having all his troubles with Monica Lewinsky and Republicans said, well, this is the end of him and his presidency and his legacy. It wasn't. It wasn't, right? So I guess I would say, I don't know if it was quite this bad, but we've seen bad moments before. We've seen a lot of things turn. It's July. As much as we're paying attention to all these numbers, a lot of Americans are on vacation. They're taking their time. They're kind of taking a back seat with politics right now. It'll all come to play late August, early September around the Democrat convention. So, yeah, this is definitely a big downside for the Democrat Party. But let's not just, we can revel in it on November 6th. How about that, right? We got about 120 days to go, something like that, to really work hard and win this thing up and down our ballots. Like, our mission right now should be making sure we win Congress and the Senate, we win our state houses, our state Senate seats, our governorships. These are the things that actually can be more impactful post 2025 in Americans' lives than anything else.
Yeah,
so let's make sure we're winning those seats as well.
We focus on the top of the ticket, but those down ballot races are crucial. So Cook Political Report, they just came out with their latest assessment. It's pretty much all good news for Donald Trump. They moved Arizona, Georgia, Nevada from toss-up to lean Republican. When it comes to New Hampshire, likely Democrat has been moved to lean Democrat. As the leader of the state, what do you think about that shift? Is New Hampshire a winnable state for Donald Trump?
Absolutely. There's no question. It's an absolute toss-up race. We always have a very, very high voter turnout. I think you're going to continue to see that. So the Democrat base is going to come out here. There's no question about it. But the Trump supporters are going to come out. The Republicans are going to come out. We have 400 members in our legislature. That means we have 400 folks around the state with their own little armies running for their seats in November as well. They're going to push a strong Republican message. That live free or die thing, that limited government, local control, low taxes, individual responsibility. Those are the messages that really resonate with folks and translate all the way up the ticket, right? The way we do it in New Hampshire is we support the bottom, and the top of the ticket kind of ends up coming with us. And again, I think that former President Trump can be very, very strong here.
Yeah, well, look, New Hampshire people are known for being fiercely independent. The actual independents in New Hampshire, as of May, given Trump a 14-point lead. That is big. Chris Sununu, Governor, thank you so much, sir. We appreciate your time and your insight. And with that,
Fox and Friends starts right now.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.